Hello my loves and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the return of Marc Jacobs Beauty. I have a doggo that wants to say hello because this is the Freya show. Hello. No, you can't lick my face. I just put my makeup on. How are you today? Do you want to say hello to everyone? Hello everyone. Okay, are we done now? I really need to move my camera away from the window because I cannot deal with this inconsistent lighting. So, a little bit of background about Marc Jacobs Beauty. It was founded in 2013 as a subsidiary of LVMH. The beauty products were manufactured by Kendo Holdings Inc., which is also a subsidiary of LVMH, and the products were sold and stocked in Sephora stores, on their website and on the Marc Jacobs Beauty website. May have also been on some other online retailers, but I'm not too sure about that. Cannot confirm. Up until 2001, everything was going great until all of a sudden we saw all of the Marc Jacobs Beauty products heavily discounted on the Sephora website and on the Marc Jacobs Beauty website. Turns out that the licensing agreement was expiring with Kendo, and Marc Jacobs Beauty had decided not to renew the contract. For a short time there were whispers that the brand was closing permanently, but I recall personally that a brand representative actually made a statement. I think it was on Instagram, might have been in an article. I tried to look for it online, I could not find it. But they made a statement that they were basically taking a hiatus to kind of revamp the brand. And until recently, we heard nothing more about it until people found that Net-a-Porter was stating that they were going to start stocking Marc Jacobs Beauty soon. Side note, I have no idea why they put this on their website at this time, because saying coming soon to me means you can expect it within the next, couple of weeks, maybe couple of months. No, we're not seeing anything until 2025. Last month we heard news that Marc Jacobs had entered into an agreement with Coty to manufacture their beauty line. Now, Coty is no stranger to Marc Jacobs. They have actually been manufacturing their fragrances for over 20 years, since 2001. So now that you're caught up on the history of Marc Jacobs, I want to go back a little bit and talk about LVMH and Kendo Holdings Incorporated. So Kendo is owned by LVMH. It's a subsidiary company, and they manufacture cosmetics and skincare products. Other brands that Kendo manufacture at this time are KVD Beauty, Fenty Beauty, and Bite Beauty. LVMH own Benefit and Makeup Forever as well, but they are not manufactured by Kendo. Now, these are just the brands either owned by LVMH or manufactured by Kendo that fit into like the same consumer market position as Marc Jacobs, in my opinion, of course. There are other luxury cosmetic lines owned by LVMH, but I'm not including them in the list because I don't think it's that relevant. From that list, there's two brands in particular that I want to sort of focus on, KVD Beauty and Fenty Beauty. Once upon a time, KVD Beauty was very, very popular. They kind of fell out of favor because of issues with the original face of the brand, Kat Von D, but she has since stepped away from the brand and apparently has nothing to do with it. They are known for making good products. Then we've got Fenty Beauty, another one where you've got a really popular face and name behind the brand and some pretty good products. And I don't know how popular Bite Beauty is these days, but I would say that Fenty Beauty is probably like their big ticket or their big money maker brand. Now, I have no idea why Marc Jacobs Beauty would decide to not renew their agreement with Kendo. My best guess would be that they simply weren't happy with the sales that were coming in, and they thought that maybe they could do better with another parent company. They must have felt that there was still a future for the brand, because if it was a complete money sink that was not making sales, making no money, losing money year after year, why would they take it to another company? There must have been something going on where they weren't happy with the direction of the brand at that time. So my assumption is that there was money being made. There is a customer base, which I believe because I was a customer, and they had some amazing products. They definitely had some mids that I was just like, not really into it. More of like a, this just isn't suited either to my skin type or my makeup preferences. But I don't think I ever tried anything from Marc Jacobs Beauty that I genuinely disliked because I thought it was a bad product. It all related to, this just doesn't work for my dry skin, or, you know, this is a nice formula, but it's too pigmented for me, or not pigmented enough, or the color's just not right. And those are, you know, those are personal preferences. That's not to do with a product being bad. But then the things that I do love from Marc Jacobs, like I freaking love their highliners and fine liners. The formula is outstanding. Like that stuff just lasts on my skin forever. Their bronzers are absolutely beautiful formula, although there was some issues with those like crumbling and stuff, but I don't know what was up with that. I really enjoyed their highlighters. So you'd never be able to convince me that they didn't have a customer base. I suspect that there was just issues with promotion and, you know, potentially the brand feeling like they could do better elsewhere. And that's where Coty comes in. Now, I want to talk about Coty a little bit. They, in my opinion, Coty are best known for their fragrances. They manufacture a lot of fragrances for a lot of brands, including Marc Jacobs, as we spoke about. But in terms of cosmetics, and I'm only going to mention cosmetics that I'm personally familiar with. They do have some other brands that are sold internationally. I've never used them. I'm not familiar with them, so I can't comment on their quality, so I'm not going to include them. But if we look at some of the brands that I'm familiar with, we've got Rimmel, Bourjois, CoverGirl, and Max Factor. I would say those 4 brands fit into like drugstore category, because in Australia they are sold in like supermarkets and chemists and things like that. Then you jump straight into Burberry and Gucci, and I feel like there's a big disconnect there. I would say Marc Jacobs actually fits into the middle of those categories. So I would assume that Coty are pretty excited to have Marc Jacobs Beauty on board, because I feel like it fills a gap in their market presence. Now, there are actually 2 other brands that I've left off that list, which I'm assuming Coty feels will like bridge the gap between their drugstore, what I consider their luxury, the Burberry and Gucci. Feel free to let me know if you guys consider them a bit more luxury than Marc Jacobs, or if that, maybe that's just me. But there are 2 other brands that I think maybe Coty feel bridge the gap, and that Marc Jacobs will like fit into a similar category, and that is Kylie Cosmetics. They also do Kylie Skin and Kylie Baby, but we're not going to worry about them. And then there's Skin by Kim Kardashian. So in 2020, Kylie Jenner sold a 51% stake of Kylie Cosmetics, and I assume Kylie Skin and Kylie Baby, the umbrella company of Kylie Beauty. They sold a 51% stake to Coty for $600 million. In the same year, Kim Kardashian sold a 20% stake of her company to Coty for $200 million. At that time, it was called, I think it was KKW Beauty, and they actually rebranded it to Skin. Now, I believe it was in 2001 we saw Kylie Cosmetics come back online, essentially, and you could buy products from her website. And I think they also got her products in store. I'm not too sure, but I think they did. Then in 2022, I nearly said 2002, 2022, we saw KKW Beauty come back, but rebranded as Skin. So prior to Coty purchasing a stake in both of these companies and relaunching them, these products were manufactured by Seed Beauty, which is like the maker of ColourPop, essentially. It's an incubator company. While being manufactured by Seed Beauty, I think Kylie Cosmetics in particular, we're not going to worry too much about Skin or KKW Beauty as it was at the time. Kylie Cosmetics was pretty popular, I'm going to say. I tried, or did I try any of her products? I feel like I might have, but if anything, it might have been like a lip kit and like matte liquid lipsticks, not my thing. But as a whole, it was promoted heavily. It had a huge like online social media presence. The products were being pumped out on a regular basis, as Seed Beauty are really, really good at doing. And I think overall, they probably had a pretty decent customer base. I think they were making bank. I feel like that's a safe assumption to make. Even though, look, sometimes she would release things like her holiday collections. Oh, that's right. I bought some of her holiday stuff from the Santa, I think it was Santa Baby collection. And I actually, I liked them for the most part. I think she did holiday collections really well. It felt like she put her whole heart and soul into it. And Seed Beauty are also really good at creating pretty elaborately themed collections. So I think as a whole, they were probably doing pretty well for a while. I don't know why Kylie Jenner decided to pull out from Seed. I don't know what was happening there. I don't know if their contract was up and she just didn't renew it, or potentially, look, here's my guess. I think potentially sales had dropped over the years and Kylie thought she could do better elsewhere. That's my assumption, and keep it in mind because I'm going to talk about something else coming up soon. And I think history is repeating itself. Anyway, going back to Kylie Cosmetics being manufactured by Coty, I jumped on their website and I also did a little bit of digging online to see what people's general opinion is about the brand. For me, I feel like I've seen maybe 2 releases. One that I know for sure that I've seen promoted online since the brand was being manufactured through Coty, and that was the gloss drip. But other than that, I don't think I've really seen much of anything. So I don't think their online presence is quite as big as what it was with Seed Beauty, especially in the early days of the brand launching with Seed Beauty, just so we're clear. Anyway, I jumped on their website. I had a look at the products. It's a pretty bland range, not gonna lie. It looks like what they've been doing since 2001 is basically just padding out the collection with, you know, the basics. They've rebranded and brought back the lip kits, which I think, you know, that was the thing that she was first known for. They've got lip glosses, they've got blushes, they've got eyeshadow palettes. So there's a huge array of products on her website. It is never ending. And there are some weird things thrown in there. So like I was saying about how Seed Beauty used to do these sort of special collections or themed collections with Kylie Cosmetics, we do see a couple that have come through the Coty era of the brand. There's a Valentine's Day pressed powder palette. So they haven't even called it an eyeshadow palette, which red flag. And it looks atrocious. And there was Batman like lip sets. I think they're lip glosses. Okay, no, 2 lip glosses and a matte lip tint. Absolutely horrendous packaging. Like, just why? I don't, like, what is that junk? I can also see like a holiday highlighter still on the website, heavily discounted. So it looks like they have been trying to replicate what Seed Beauty is so freaking good at. But what actually really shocked me, like mega shocked me about the website when I went and had a look, was the prices. So the prices I'm going to put up are in Australian dollars. What the hell for some of these items? Seriously. $32 for a lip balm. $62 for a lip kit. $34 for an eyeliner. Personally, I think there's a huge disconnect between how I view the brand and the prices that they're selling them for. Same thing goes for skin, previously known as KKW Beauty. Most of the stuff now is just skincare. I don't think there's any makeup on the website, but like $75 for an eye cream, $85 for a face cream, $43 for a cleanser, and that's actually in US dollars. I don't want to get too deep into Kim Kardashian's brand being sold or manufactured through Coty because it's not really relevant to talking about makeup being manufactured. But when I look at brands that Coty has, the only skincare brand that I'm familiar with that's manufactured through Coty is Philosophy. When I look at skin and I know that it's manufactured by Coty and I look at the prices and then I look at comparable brands that they also manufacture, I'm just like, this is so off base. Like, what is this? I am so easily sucked in by skincare and claims that skincare brands make about their products in hopes that it will fix all of my skin woes. But when I look at this stuff, like, I kind of like her packaging, so I'm like, ooh, I like the simplicity of it. Like, it makes me feel calm and I like that. But for me, there's no brand trust there. I don't feel like I can trust it, and I feel like the prices are just absurd for what I'm seeing there and the way that, like, the lack of trust that I have. As I mentioned, I did go for a little bit of a hunt online to find out people's opinions of Kylie Cosmetics. The general consensus was they tried stuff when it was manufactured by Seed and they tried stuff when it was manufactured by Coty, and they felt like the Coty quality wasn't quite as good as the Seed Beauty quality. But then also there were some things that were manufactured by Coty that they quite enjoyed. So I would say that potentially not much has changed. The formulas will definitely be different. People did say they are different formulas. Some things they enjoyed, some things they didn't, and that would have been the same with when things were manufactured by Seed Beauty. So my assumption is that Coty will think that Marc Jacobs Beauty will sort of slot right in with Skin and Kylie Cosmetics. However, we have learnt that Kylie Jenner and Kim Kardashian are both trying to buy their brands back from Coty, and that screams a very, very loud story. A spokesperson for Kim and Kylie was quoted as saying they have been frustrated with the manner in which Coty has managed their brands. So this doesn't bode well for Coty at all. I would actually say that in terms of cosmetics, that Coty manufacture or brands that are under their umbrella, not really any of them have a like hugely impactful online presence. Rimmel, Bourjois, CoverGirl, Max Factor, occasionally you'll see a release from them, but only if you're looking. I haven't tried Burberry or Gucci makeup products, so I can't really have an opinion on, you know, where they stand in terms of quality versus price point. But I also don't feel like they're brands that I really see raved about much. So what does this all mean for Marc Jacobs? How is this relevant? Well, we have to look at what Coty is capable of creating to understand what Marc Jacobs is going to be when it comes back. Is it going to be the same quality as what Kendo was creating when the products were sold in Sephora? Absolutely not. I have no doubt that we will see some similar products. My guess will be that their eyeliners will be one of the first things that they release, because if you were already a fan of Marc Jacobs highliners, then you were probably a fan because you knew that the formula was absolutely outstanding. But then we need to take into consideration that if you are a fan of Marc Jacobs and you love their highliners and you buy them because you know that the quality is outstanding, and they re-release them and they're a different formula and they're not as good, you're going to piss some people off. Also, thinking about my assumption that potentially Marc Jacobs chose to leave LVMH and Kendo due to potentially not being happy with how their brand was promoted and going to Coty to, I guess, look for greener grass, and knowing that Kim and Kylie are not happy with how their brands are being managed. Are they going to get what they're looking for? Is Coty even capable of bringing what they want to the table? Like I mentioned, the makeup brands that Coty are manufacturing and promoting, they don't have this massive punchy online presence. In Australia, for example, Max Factor was a drugstore brand, and I would say it was probably one of the best quality like drugstore products that you could find in Australia. CoverGirl is another one that is highly regarded, and I think Bourjois is as well. I just feel like we don't really hear as much about Bourjois, and Rimmel is pretty good as well. Like, they're all brands that, you know, I have quite a bit of respect for. But Max Factor was actually pulled from Australia. Okay, thank you. Now get down. Max Factor was pulled from Australian shelves a few years ago. You can still find some of their products here and there, but they certainly don't have the presence that they used to have. So looking at those drugstore brands and Burberry and Gucci and Kylie Cosmetics and Skin, I have to admit that my confidence in Coty to get this launch with Marc Jacobs right is extremely low. I don't think Marc Jacobs Beauty is ever going to be the same again. It's definitely not going to be sold in Sephora. If they're looking at stocking it on Net-a-Porter, and I can only hope other online retailers alongside like their own website, which I assume will ship internationally, then hopefully people will have good access to it. Look, in Australia, we have like two major makeup retailers. We've got Mecca and we've got Sephora. So we know Marc Jacobs Beauty isn't, little bug, we know Marc Jacobs Beauty isn't going to be stocked in Sephora stores. So cross that off the list. It could be stocked in Mecca, but it will probably take years to actually get it on shelves. Mecca are very well known for their exclusivity contracts, which means that they are the only company in Australia to be allowed to stock and sell a particular brand, and that includes online retailers. So international online retailers that would usually ship products to Australia, they are not allowed to ship brands that Mecca stock that they have exclusivity contracts with. So they have a huge monopoly on many of the cosmetic brands available in Australia. So I would actually hope that Mecca doesn't get Marc Jacobs. Like, just no, we don't want that. Also, the fact that Mecca never have sales unless it's end of year sales, and it's like old stock, like holiday stock from a year or 2 years ago. In terms of Australian consumers, it would be so much better for us if it was, I don't know, even stocked at like David Jones or Maya or something like that, or just online. But if it's stocked at Mecca, it's the end of, you know, any decent sales like what we would see at Sephora. My best guess, though, is that the brand will be available globally, at least through their own website. Prior to Marc Jacobs going on a hiatus and selling off all their stock, they did have an online website that you could purchase from, and as far as I know, they shipped globally. So overall, I am not confident that Marc Jacobs Beauty will make the comeback that they are probably hoping for, and that I am hoping for in terms of quality and price point and availability. But in saying that, I am totally ready to be proven wrong. I just think in terms of what we're seeing with like Kylie and Kim trying to buy back their brands from Coty, that it doesn't bode well for the future of these cosmetic brands that are probably looking to really capitalize on having a huge social media presence. Because let's face it, these days the best way to make bank with cosmetics is to have eyes on your product, and the easiest and best way to have eyes on your product is to have a massive online presence that sucks people in and makes them like really want to go out and spend their money on your cosmetics. But also in the current global climate, the financial global climate, like, it's kind of, I don't know, man, it's just, I imagine that it's hard times for all beauty companies, because it's hard times for a lot of consumers. So it wouldn't surprise me if we see not just these brands, you know, going through these big changes and sort of struggling to maintain or regain popularity amongst consumers, but we'll probably see it with more brands over the coming years as well. But I think that's where I'm going to leave it, guys. I definitely want to know all of your thoughts and opinions. I just got to share mine with you, so fill me in on how you feel about it. Let me know your thoughts on Marc Jacobs leaving and returning. What are you worried about? What are you excited about? And also let me know your thoughts on Kylie Cosmetics and Skin. Also, if you've tried the products, tell me everything. Just write me a novel of your thoughts in the comment section. I'm really keen to know what people think about this. I kind of wanted to do this live because I wanted to have that discourse with people. And I also know that people will have other opinions that I think are really interesting, or they will mention something that didn't even cross my mind. So I kind of wanted to do this live, but also I felt like it would be 3 hours of me rambling, and I mean, this video is probably already gonna be that anyway, but I'm gonna leave it there. Please let me know your thoughts. Shout out to my channel members. Thank you guys so much for your support. Freya wants to come and say goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for watching the Freya show. Yes, I know. Okay, there she goes. Okay, she's done. I'm done. Thank you guys again for joining me, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.